Okay, so as I said before, the ALA frameworks for information literacy in higher ed are a little different than the standards. The standards were, as you kind of saw, very much so a checklist of information literate people do this to be information literate. Whereas the frameworks are, like I said in my image here, more what you call guidelines. This isn't a hard and fast to-do list. It's really more guidelines for how people who already are information literate, how they think and how they approach information and how they approach research and scholarship. So it's really a different way of approaching the concept of information literacy and what you need to do instead of it's thoughts, not actions. So you really got to remember that when you're looking at the two differences here, but they do kind of overlap a good amount. So frame one, authority is constructed and contextual. What this means is that who has authority to give you information and to give you credible and accurate information and who you should listen to depends on the situation you're in. I am an authority and an expert in information literacy, particularly within a university setting in the United States. This is my career. I have a master's degree in library science. I have 7 years of working in academic libraries. I've had years of teaching this class. I'm a good expert in this. I am not, however, an expert in microbiology. I know nothing about it. I've never taken microbiology. I'm not an expert in basketball. These are not my areas of expertise. But what makes me an expert in information literacy is that kind of background constructed context of that I have experience working in this field. I have the higher ed degree. And so when you're looking at what makes someone an authority, being able to give you information, writing articles, writing books, being on television, being an influencer on YouTube or Instagram, and being able to give you what sounds like competent information and accurate ideas doesn't make that person an expert. What makes you an expert is kind of, do you meet the standards of excellency and expertise in the field they're in? And so this is created by the people in the field. So for my master's degree program, part of that was what makes that an expert level program is it was accredited by the American Library Association. That's for them to give me a degree in this, they had to meet the standards of ALA for that program. Most of your programs here have some sort of accrediting body here in the nation. So like the chemistry department, the American Chemical Society is their kind of accrediting body and stuff like that, that you're meeting standards of expertise. So you have this constructed area of what makes someone an expert, but it changes from the context you're in. So remembering that and acknowledging that of why am I listening to this person or organization to give me this info is so very important. Just because it sounds correct, or just because they're speaking confidently, or just because they've even published a book you're holding in your hand in print, does not necessarily make them an expert. So look at where they're getting their information, who these people or organizations are, and so acknowledge that authority is constructed in that various community, and that different communities recognize different types of authority. And so it's contextual in that you may need help to determine the level of authority required. You may need to look up, okay, well, what would make someone an expert in this? Why do I want to listen to this person instead of that? So keeping in mind, authority is not the same everywhere. No one is an authority on everything. Information creation as a process. So this one talks about information in any format, whether it's written, published, given to you in person, given to you through visual, given to you through video and media and things that way, is produced to convey a message and is shared via that selective delivery method. So the iterative process of researching, creating, revising, and disseminating information vary. Iterative is a word I think we're going to talk about a few times in this class, and you talk about another one of these frameworks. It kind of means repetitive. That you're doing the same thing over and over, but iterative, as you do these things, will also mean you're changing it slightly, and so you're also building upon what the previous person did. So you hear this phrase, don't recreate the wheel, rebuild the wheel, take the other person's wheel and customize it to your own. So that can also be part of this iterative process. And so with research, it's very common that you're not going to just come out with brand new information. You're really, part of research process is reproving what someone else did. I can use the coronavirus vaccine, this COVID-19 vaccine they're working on. They're not just going to say, oh, this cured this one person and we're done. They're going to test it and make sure that it works in many situations, that they're getting the same results. And if they don't get the same results, then they're going to start tweaking it to make sure that it can do what it wants. And so that's kind of an iterative process. And so the resulting products reflect these differences by what sort of information you're finding. Information has value. This takes on several different aspects of information of the term value. So it says it possesses several dimensions of value, including as a commodity, as a means of education, influence, and negotiating and understanding the world. So information has value just in and of itself, that it gives you knowledge that you need to do whatever it is you're trying to do. Information also has value in the way that you know the phrase knowledge is power. So it gives you the power to not only know what it is you need to do, but to actually do it. It can also give you power in a more nefarious context and a more less positive light of your ability to influence. Knowledge is power that way. But it also knowledge has value in terms of money. This is why textbooks are so expensive. Knowledge is a commodity that is meant to be bought and traded and sold. And so there's lots of people making lots of money off of information being created and off of the work of researchers and college faculty and other people who are creating this information and putting it out there for the world to access. That information has a lot of financial value. And so that's where it brings into the second sentence of there are legal and socioeconomic interests that influence information production and dissemination. So it's dissemination, fancy way of saying how it's given out to people, how it is sent out, whether it's in print or online with the internet, how is it being given to other people. So because there are legal and socioeconomic, legal ties in quite a bit into rights of ownership, that you get to own the information you create. That if you're doing a research project or you're creating a product or you're writing a book or something like that, you own that and it's yours. And so people have to respect that because of copyright and the laws surrounding that. But you also have the financial aspect of it, that in some ways research that's being funded, because research lots of times takes money, sometimes has political and other influences behind who's giving money to what right now, who's interested in what. Climate change right now in the past 4 years would be a very good example of that. That if the political party in power, who has all of the government research funds, doesn't want to research climate change, guess where the money's not going to go. So you kind of have that information that's being produced definitely has that underside of, is not what's being produced, but sometimes what's not being produced. What you're getting a big push in certain areas of research that I think in the past 5 to 10 years, you've seen lots of diet books like the keto diet. Everybody's interested in it. So diets that used to be for professional doctors to give out for children who have epilepsy is now like the fad cookbook on every shelf in every supermarket and bookstore. So you kind of have interest within it, but also if you're seeing like a lack of information on something, that's possibly because it doesn't make money, or the people who have the money don't want to put the money behind the research. So aspects to think about. Information has value, and value has a lot of different aspects to it. Research is scholarly inquiry. So research is once again iterative, so it's repetitive and depends upon asking increasingly complex or new questions. So research is curiosity with a purpose in many ways. Research is you're asking questions and you're wondering, well, what about this? Well, if we add this, what changes it? And most of the time, once you answer those questions, it just leads to more questions. And so you're kind of going down the rabbit hole of questioning. I'm sorry if you're getting background noise. The train is going past my office. I'll see if the whistle can get past. All right, there we go. So research in and of itself is just question asking, and then going to find the answers to those questions and realizing that what you're probably going to find is more questions with that. And so it's definitely that scholarly inquiry. Scholarship is conversation, is another really important thing to acknowledge, that when you're looking at scholarly information and academic research, there's never this is fact, this is the end of the discussion, period, the end, we're moving on to another topic. That's not what books and research articles that you're going to be using in your university classes are. What they are is someone saying, well, I have this fact or knowledge, and I'm adding it to this scholarly conversation. And so then everyone who's talking about that topic takes that new fact and knowledge and starts adding that into, well, this is how this functions with that knowledge, and this is how this ties to that. And so really all of this printed and written research that you're going to be looking at is other researchers and scholars and experts in some ways talking to each other. And then lots of times you see it professionally of they're getting feedback on that. So I'm sure y'all are familiar with the concept of a movie review, to where so-called experts will give their opinion on the movie, what's good about it, what's bad about it, what's it about. You see that with academic research too, that you get book reviews or article reviews, to where if I wrote a book and published it about how to teach undergraduates information literacy skills, other librarians and academic instructors could then take that book and would write reviews of it, of this is what's good about it, this is what's bad about it, this is how it ties into the academic conversation. So you get a lot of that kind of level of conversation. So research is never done. You have these discoveries occurring over time as a result of varied perspectives and interpretations that it builds upon each other. It's all of society working together to explore is this conversation. And so anything you're writing and publishing, or that's been written in, or that's been published, is part of this ongoing conversation of pursuit of knowledge and info. All right, searching and strategic exploration. So talked about a lot within the standards of being able to revise your plan for how you're looking for info. So searching for strategic exploration, searching for info is often nonlinear and iterative. So you get that word iterative again. Nonlinear, it's not in a straight line. Sometimes it zigzags and goes places you didn't think about. So sometimes you do have to be able to evaluate a range of information sources. So you're not just looking at books and articles, but you might have to look at news media and online videos and things like that. And so you have the mental flexibility to pursue alternate avenues as your understanding develops. Someone who's information literate, once again, will be able to adjust course to take new information and to take it into their brain and their knowledge of this, and adjust course based upon this new information that they're being told. So, all right, so that's the frameworks. One last video talking about the pillars.